What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at all of the leaders that have gone and been revealed for the One Piece TCG. Now, the deal at the moment is we've got some leaders that have been revealed for OP1 for Romance Dawn. I don't believe they are all of the ones in the set, though they could be. And then we have got the ones from the starter decks that we have seen already. So we'll have a quick reminder of those at the beginning, but I think it's fair to say we're not going to spend a huge amount of time on them. Any translated proxies and translations we're using here do come from the lovely folks over at onepiece-cardgame.dev. They are awesome. And if you want to research the game, if you want to look up certain cards like leaders or whatever, the best place to go. They are awesome. So, quick reminder of the starter decks then. We've got the Luffy from the red starter deck. All of the starter deck leaders, I should say, are 5,000 power, 5 life. Life is not always 5. And yeah, that's pretty standard. Luffy, you can activate main once during your turn to give your leader or one of your characters a rested Don card. That's a pretty big deal, as you'll know if you've been playing the tutorial app. The idea that you can rest the Don in order to pay to play a card, but then attach it anyway, pretty gosh darned awesome. Eustace Kid is your green starter deck leader, and we've got an activate main once per turn, free cost, which means you rest free Don in order to do it, like playing a card. And you can discard a card from your hand to make this leader active, which basically gives you another attack. Paying free cost to get an extra attack with your leader, that's a pretty big deal. Bearing in mind when you attach Don, that gives you the bonus for the turn, this could end up being pretty awesome. Crocodile is your blue starter deck leader. Activate main once per turn, Don -4. That is to say 4 Don go back to your Don deck in order to use it. Return up to 1 cost 5 or lower character to its owner's hand. So no, it's not the easiest one to actually get using because of the whole returning Don stuff, but getting rid of one of your opponent's characters that's going to block and annoy you, or attack to win the game or whatever, could be absolutely huge. And then we've got Kaido from the purple starter deck. Activate main Don -7, so you put 7 Don back to your deck, which is nuts. Although do remember the purple deck does have a bunch of ways to play extra Don. It has to for this to be viable. Trash the top card of your opponent's life. And we're going to see all of the leaders here have 4 or 5 life. So that's 20 or 25% of the life gotten rid of in one go. And because it's trashing, there's no having to get through countering or any of that rubbish. You just get rid of it. Your opponent doesn't get that card to their hand like they usually would do when you take one of their life. None of that, ladies and gentlemen. It is just straight away, go after it. I absolutely adore this. This is wonderful. It looks just absolutely brutal, but in a really fun way. This is my personal favourite of it. I don't know if we're going to be able to work it often, but I really hope we can. So what have we got then in terms of leaders from the actual set? Well, so far we have had 4 leaders revealed, and only one of them is actually a mono colour. And it is worth pointing out we have seen alternate arts of all 4 of the leaders in the set. All 4 of the ones that have been shown so far do have alternate arts. I will be showing you them as we go through. So what we've got here is Roronoa Zoro. We've seen him as a character, now he comes in as a leader. Pure red, 5,000 power, 5 life. And Don X1, that is attached 1 Don. On your turn, all of your characters gain 1,000 power. And again, I need to give you the same caveat for a little while for this game. But please, 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 please do remember that we don't know that much. We've not seen all the cards from OP1. And even when we have, it's still super early. So please bear that in mind as we're looking. But this seems like your speed aggro deck. Because attaching 1 Don, remember, you can attach your active Don to your characters as you like during your turn. You attach 1 here, all your characters gain an extra 1,000 power. It's an easy way to give a little bit of a boost to all of your characters. In the mid to late game, it's not going to work like the starter deck Kaido is going to, but in the early game, it is going to be pretty gosh darn nice. I really like this one. I do think it's kind of early game super powerful while you're running through your opponent's weaker characters, trying to sneak hits through their leader, etc. But I think as the game wears on, this one is not quite as powerful as some of the others. Having said that, a 1000 boost to all of your characters is always going to be quite nice. I think that's fair to say. Now, Trafalgar Law, also we have the alternate art here, and you'll notice all the alternate arts have a pretty clear style coming in. And what we've got here is a dual colour red and green. Now, I didn't actually notice initially, so shout out to the people who pointed this out to me. There is a little colour wheel in the bottom left-hand corner that tells you what colour they are, because as we're going to see in one of the dual colour ones in a minute, these are not always kind to colourblind people like myself. But we've got 5,000 power, 4 life. And so far, this is a hard and fast rule, probably going to be broken at some point. But right now, the deal is this. All of the leaders we've seen have 5,000 power. All of the monocolour leaders have 5 life. All of the dual colour leaders have 4. And the reason here, essentially, I'm assuming, is if you've got 2 colours, then that gives you extra options in deck building. Remember, One Piece is quite strict, a lot stricter than other card games. You are not allowed to mix and match colours. So if you're playing a mono-red leader, you are only allowed to play red cards. Simple as that. Whereas here, because you've got a dual colour red and green, you are allowed to play either red or green cards, and this is obviously a moderately big deal. We like this. This is good. What does a card actually do? Well, activate main once per turn, 2 cost, so you got to rest 2 Don to use it. If you control 5 characters, return one of your characters to the owner's hand, and then play a 5 cost or lower character of a different colour as the returned character from your hand. I.e., if you pick up a red character, you play a green. If you pick up a green character, you play a red. Nice. And you got to have 5 characters out, which means either it's moderately late in the game, or you play lots of smaller characters, or, you know, roundabout. The point is, this lets you swap characters. And I love it. Because you've got play skills. And it means that you can play a little character early, do its thing, but then swap it for a bigger character as the game wears on, as an example. And I think this is fantastic. Yes, you've got to pay 2 to use this, so it's not exactly playing a character for free. But, yeah, being able to swap characters, I think this is absolutely brilliant. And weirdly, that's not the only dual colour red and green leader we've seen. Now, the Monkey D. Luffy I actually showed you earlier, it was the first dual colour one we'd seen. It was a pretty big deal. And when I showed you Monkey D. Luffy, I told you, right, this is probably going to be a thing. If they're introducing dual colour leaders in set number 1, what that really tells you is this isn't a mechanic they're bringing in several sets down the line, as a lot of card games have done in the past. This is a thing they are very consciously doing early, which means it's part of the game. This is something they're going to be focusing on moving forward. This is going to be something which is actually going to be a key part of the game. Dual colour leaders aren't a gimmick to introduce in set 4 or 5. This is going to be a big feature of the game from the very beginning. And that's exactly what we see, because 3 of the 4 leaders I'm showing you in this video are dual colour leaders. Now, again, we got 5,000 power and we've got ourselves 4 life, but obviously we have a different skill. It'd be boring if they all had the same skill. And that is an activate main once per turn, 4 cost, rest 4 Don to use it. Set one of your cost 5 or lower Supernovas or Straw Hat Crew characters to active and give them 1,000 power for the turn. So again, you're waiting a couple of turns before this can really get firing. You're paying 4 memory. But basically, what you want is your best 5 cost or lower Supernova or Straw Hat Crew character. And now you can attack twice. Yes. Obviously, that's really, really good. I like this. And then finally, we got Kaido that is a dual colour blue and purple. This border is a nightmare and I hate it. I despise the border, but we do have the colour wheel in the bottom left-hand corner. I know that the life is dual colour, that's really hard to see. I know the border is dual colour, that's really hard to see. But the colour wheel does at least help. When I first saw this card, I honestly only knew it was a dual color character because of the whole 4 life thing. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have seen it for ages. But what we've got here is Don X1, attach a Don. During your turn, once per turn, when one of your characters is KO'd, you can add a Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. I love this. And I seem to be weirdly drawn to Kaido leaders. But hey, whatever makes me happy, right? The thing is, this is on your turn. So this isn't on your opponent's turn where they're carrying one of your characters or any of that rubbish. This is basically, I'm attacking with a character, and if my opponent blocks, which they're probably going to, with a bigger character to KO me, I get an extra Don. Essentially, this puts your opponent in an awkward situation. When you're attacking, your opponent can let the attack go through, or they can counter up to KO your character, but you get an extra Don and it's active so you can use it this turn. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. I adore the fact that it puts your opponent in that situation where they can block and KO you, but they have to let you have an extra Don. Or they can counter up and KO you, but they've got to let you have an extra Don, and that's kind of brilliant. And don't get me wrong, right? If you're going to get an attack through and take out one of their life, they're going to block / counter you because they kind of have to. But it's just a way of saying, look, I don't think you've actually got the counter pieces you need to stop me. But at least if you do, I'm getting an extra active Don that I can use to start playing more cards. And as a consolation prize, that's quite nice. And then, of course, you got that awkward situation where your opponent has used all of the counter pieces they've got to counter and stop your attack, and you've now got an extra Don that you can hopefully use to try and launch another attack that they're not going to be able to counter because they used all their counter cards to stop your first attack. I really like this. And right now, that's what we've got. They are the 4 leaders we know about from Romance Dawn. They are the 4 leaders that we know about from the starter decks. Remember, you're going to be building your deck around your leader. So your leader is extremely important. You have a leader, 50-card deck, 10-card Don deck, go. So the leader you actually choose is going to be hyper important. And these are the 8 choices we've seen so far. There are going to be plenty more leaders down the way. But as a, hey, the game's coming out soon, this is what we've got, I think this is quite a nice summary. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know which of these leaders you are drawn to. I want to know what your first deck is going to be. I want to know basically anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.